Good afternoon. I'm really thankful to Outlook Money for inviting me to moderate a panel on such a topical and pressing issue for insurance companies. And really more so because I really have a fantastic professionals in my panel. We have Dr. Ms. Punit Kaur Kohli, Chief Technology Officer, Universal Sompo General Insurance Company Limited, Mr. Shivakumar Kunchitapatham, Chief Technology Officer, Gradatim IT Ventures India Private Limited, and Mr. Tarun Mathur, Head of Strategy and Innovation, Edelweiss General Insurance. Thank you all for this panel discussion. To contextualize the discussion, just before this panel, the discussion was on pandemic. I will say it's a continuing pandemic. I mean, we are thinking that it is getting over, it is coming back again. And that has really changed the way we are doing the business. Not only our workplaces got different, I mean, frankly, I do lots of business resilience consultation. Our older thought was that if I can work, 5 hours from remote, I am a fantastic business resilient company. The whole definition got changed. I mean, we are now everybody working from remote. The preference of customers got changed, and the amount of digital interactions had taken over a majority of our transactions. I mean, even those things which people are used to do, going banks or insurance offices, are all being done on digital. And that also created lots of pressure. I mean, we are hearing on lots of sniffing calls, phishing calls. Those people who were never been targeted are getting targeted. Even the professors, I mean, this is a current news, the professors are getting targeted for phishing calls, and they are getting their money sucked out from the banks. So basically, it's changing the way we are doing the business and the technology usages. So we are hearing new jargons like metaverse, like co-opetition, and we are doing some, as I do lots of data charting. Say 84% of customers are saying that for them, the experience a company provides is as important as the products or services they're buying. So it's a huge expectation build-up of customer. And if the digital or omnichannel presence is not getting them within, say, 1 or 2 minutes, they get bored and come out of that. Hence, CX is taking a huge amount of priority. I'm sure we will have a long discussion on that. Just to tell you, on a current survey, lots of C-suite positions told from insurance companies that they have some initiatives or other in the customer journey, like multi-channel communication with hybrid experiences, more engagement of customers, just not at the renewal time. Sometimes overloading of engagement. We'll discuss that also, I'm sure. Then we are seeing that data is being gathered at every stage of the customer life cycle. If we can use that properly, that probably give a fantastic hyper personalized services to the individuals. But also, some mistake at the data will make the whole trust go away. So things are getting completely different than it was 2 to 3 years back. We are using more AI for the claim systems, not only at the time of claims, but even at the underwriting also. People are using more of machine learning, emerging technologies. People are using more customer persona to understand what is happening. Ethnographic studies are being done quite often. And there are use cases even where the claim had been used to be 3 weeks, which came down to 15 minutes to 1 hour. So the processing cost also is getting decreased. So all these are basically pushing a major thought on how we can do personalized services to the individuals, how we can make our huge retail processing cost lower, and also make a better connect and presence in the customer's mind. I mean, obviously, making digital always makes a brand, a choice. Whether there is really no differentiation after a certain point of time. You are not thinking properly with the CX. So, and also I'm sure you are also seeing that the process is not only changing for the retail customers, it is also changing at the B2B region. So there's a quite a large amount of churn is happening of the technologies, and the technology stack is changing very fast. The emerging technologies are taking place, and how those can be digested, created a proper strategy, and and that is where everything is pinned. So I will start the discussion with the retail investors' behavioral change has happened. We are seeing that. I mean, they are going towards more digital tool sets. Though there is a huge digital divide happening. I mean, I really want to understand from you also that. So how you are seeing that your customer experience strategy is changing in this current current scenario. I mean, we may start with Ms. Kohli, Dr. Kohli, to give us some insight on that, how this is being happening, and what is your thought process on that.
So first of all, Suketu, thanks for the opportunity. Thank Outlook Group. Good afternoon, my viewers and my co-panelists. So customer is definitely, customer first approach is amongst all the, whether it is any BFSI, in fact, across all domains and verticals, people are talking about customer first approach. Reason being the pandemic, even if the mindset for the technology providers is being changed, the customers' experiences and customers, what do you say, expectations are also changing, because the way you see talking from the senior citizens to the to the middle people, everybody's mindset have changed because of this growing pandemic, because they know they can't go out. So digital and learning on there, which is mobile first approach, has also changed the new revamp, right? So there is a surge which has come, which is like adapting technology, and digitization is not about anymore a luxury, it is a need of the hour, basically, if you see that. And if you people are not equipped, then you lose the show. So having an existence into the market, meeting customer expectations, is something which you probably have to be cutthroat. You have to know what is the research going on in the market, what exactly is your customer asks. It's not necessary that a banking customer is asking this, and that would be the same, would be applicable to an insurance customer as well. So you really need to understand your business as a CXO, or as a any field. I'm not only talking about the entire CTOs or CXOs of the world. I'm talking about any company who has a customer to be basically giving a customer first approach. They really need to understand what is the customer, what is demanding from them, how they have to get equipped, what is the next that they're going to give them, what are the different tools which do you make their life easy, basically a good user experience, comfort sitting at their housing, working in terms of working from anywhere concept, in case that the customer face that I need this. So how the service people, the customer care executives, or the different call centers, and the servicing teams, how they are giving them the customer servicing. Now, in terms of customer servicing, is talking about whether it is in terms of insurance domain, it is about the need about of the claims management, health claims, motor claims, all has to be done in a turnaround time, within a speculation of hours, which probably was talking about days, as I really rightly mentioned, Suketu, in your last discussion. It has turned from, from days to hours, and hours to minutes, and minutes to, minutes to, you can't say seconds. We are not that in jet age as of now, but definitely you can say that in hours to minutes. Definitely the automation and customization has made that available today. And you will also agree that the complete decade of the digit digital world, which happened almost 10 years back, and you compare last 1.5 years, the surge in that 10 years was able to get mapped within 1 year of digitization, right? So it's all happening because the customer is also getting more equipped. It is getting more customer savvy. And, if I must say that, like, if we people say that we people are good, our customers are also super extraordinary. So one word which goes with them is like they are also becoming supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. You can say that. They're extraordinary. And if we say that we are able to meet their expectations, so it's a win-win for them. So what we need to see, we need to read out to them, we need to reach out to them to any digital tool, any masses, anything. We need to understand through social media, what is the customer asking, right? They say that we need a service fulfillment within half an hour's time. I need my insurance cover within 1 hour's time. I need my, my endorsements and everything, a policy cover note to be given to me within, a record time of, and everything should be just with the click of button, whether through digital, whether through coming on any media. I think so. That is the need of the hour, what we need to say. Then meeting up the expectations in terms of that their data is not getting compromised. That is also something into the digital technology we need to ensure. End-to-end digitization, retaining the customer experience, retaining their customer requirements, doing a cross-sell, upsell understanding that, like, building up their portfolios in terms of, like, yes, he is very much satisfied with us. If we can also understand, he will be interested in taking a new product in a different domain from us, right? That is something which is also making it happen through digital experience only. So these are all things which has come about in a round robin fashion out of the outcome of all these pandemic and automation and various digitization that is happening across the globe, I must say, as of now.
Thank you, Ms. Cole. That's a really interesting, and you actually told a few interesting points. Customers are special, and they are extraordinary. If you can really think that way, then it will be, we have to give a better, different perspective to the customers. Second, social media analytics. I will surely have more discussion on that. I mean, that actually gives the pulses of the customers, those extraordinary customers, what are their pulses, and then create our strategy to support them. And finally, you told about data confidence. This is really one thing which customers are owing, and the more and more news come about the data breaches, the people get more nervous. So how we are really working? So these are the very important components of the strategy. So, Tarun, I will go to you to understand what you are thinking about the strategic cover of the whole digitization process, because that's very, very important. I mean, in this.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, hi everyone, and great to be here. Very interesting points, and Dr. Kohli, covered so many important themes around this topic. And very rightly that customers are demanding to be special. People are expecting that they be identified as an individual, right? That personalized attention is what they are expecting. And Dipankar, you also said that, customer experience, while it has been an important aspect for every business, but that prominent need has become more emphasized. And while the pandemic has accelerated the entire digital shift, and the mindset is also happening. But yes, it will be a differentiator going forward. And more importantly, because people are now relating their experience from other sectors into banking and insurance also. Right? People are seeing a Google and Amazon or there's so many other tech firms, and they are expecting the same level of personalization or delivery from every other digital channel. And yes, while we have plethora of tools and processes and platforms available, how does a company make the best use of it? First, which communicates their own brand promise, and secondly, it it creates a meaningful impact on the customer. See, there is a lot of talk about customer engagement, right? For example, a banking app which can show you your balance, I feel it's still a transaction. How do you elevate it to an engagement? Can you give him more insight about his profile? Can you give him potential offers? Can you give him more potential, advice? So that is where, how is the service provider becoming a choice architect for the consumer is becoming more important for that engagement. And the other thing is, since everyone is becoming more tech savvy, more digitally savvy, or maybe, or at least more cognizant of the shift, but the attention span is still less. So any content which does not relate or is not able to capture that attention or that mind share is an opportunity lost. So the companies, the businesses have to become more proactive, more aware. Yes, we have, earlier this was not possible to that extent, but nowadays we have alternated data sets, we have access to other, social media data or other third-party systems wherein you get much more refined personas of customers which can get curated. So one has to really leverage power of technology there and then create meaningful interactions and relationships with customers. So this is what I am seeing, and
Correct.
Yeah.
I got it. And you actually harped on two very interesting things. One is really transaction versus engagement. I mean, we really say customer engagement, and we just give a screen and think, we are done with. That's, I mean, even if you are really creating a customer persona and follow up with that person to see what their requirement is, probably will get lots of things into the engagement per day. Currently, it is I'll say a much more niche area, but very very bottom line things are getting touched. We should level this much up on this scenario. And second one is attention span. That is one I really think is a very, very important point, because I know we lose customers because first 5-6 seconds, if the page is not loading, people go. A mail more, exactly, a mail more than a paragraph is, forget it. I mean, I am not reading it. So, and the more people getting older, the more attention span is getting. But I get a fantastic thing. I mean, see, it's not only old people, the new generation, they are also live on only on
Yes, their attention is even more sparse. They don't have patience for
exactly. They don't bother. They just don't bother. So yeah. I am really worried on that point of view also, that how customer journey can be focused but more personalized. So Shivakumar, I want to come to you from the IT perspective. See, one thing which both Dr. Kohli and Tarun told is that there are plethora of tools. My question is, and when I do consultation on strategy, how people will choose which tool is better for them, how they will orchestrate them to give a better customer experience. I mean, just using, I mean, people say that I'm using AI. I mean, so what? I mean, so how you are looking at that point?
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Mr. Dipankar, and nice to be in the panel again with distinguished guest Dr. Kohli and Mr. Tarun. Dr. Kohli and Tarun really have touched upon all the points which I would also really understand from our clients whom we work with. Okay, so in terms of customer, now the customer, previously about, I would say 5 to 6 years or maybe 10 years back, we need to be digital. This was the aim which the insurance companies were going towards. But now that phase has gone, especially millennials coming into the buying cycle now. They are already 18, 19 years. So now they start looking into, they are the target market now. Okay, those who are born in the years 2000, let's say, they are now in the target market, and they have grown up with digital, and they expect digital is given, right? Digital is given. You don't make a strategy now that, okay, I need to be digital. It's given. Now, how do you engage right from the time from sourcing to the settlement? Okay, if you take the whole full cycle of full life cycle, how you are associated with a particular retail customer, how, from where and how do you source them, and then finally you live along with him, right? You go through his journey, you go through his life until the point of transferring his insurance policy to the nominee, to the heir, then finally to the settlement stage. So in this the IT strategy, what our customers ask, it's all in bits and pieces, I would say. It's still not fully tightly associated or tightly collaborative with the end customer. If you consider three ways of digital strategy, why companies go for digital, you can say, okay, first thing is they need to be fast. They need to make sure their interactions with the customer, their internal operations, and then the communication are fast enough. They want to cut down the unproductive time. That is one of the aims of the digital strategy. Second one, collaborative. You need to be collaborative with your customer, be available to the customer in all the touch points till the life cycle of the customer. Okay, that could be the second one. Third one is the empowering him in the sense he should feel that I am demanding. The company is actually serving me. I can buy what I want. I can ask what I want. Such kind of empowerment, customer first approach, which Dr. Kohli was saying, it's exactly that. Okay. So I feel the first strategy, being fast, the industry has kind of achieved that kind of a goal. We are able to produce technologies, what we have right from AI, mobile first, and all those things. We are able to deliver the services or the products faster than before. And it has reached a stage wherein, okay, you can increase it to some extent by adding tools and processes in between. But the exponential growth, I would say, it is kind of tapered off. So even if you invest on certain technologies, you might reach a certain goal, but the kind of speed which we want to achieve, we are fairly achieved that speed. This is my reading. But the other two, the being collaborative enough and then empowering the customer, these two areas, I feel still there are quite a things industry has to do. For instance, now how collaborative, how you are actually interacting with the customer at every stage. Okay, is it a two-way communication happening very seamlessly, or it is always a push notification you send to him and wait passively for the customer to come back? Okay, so it is a lot of areas. It's still a push notification. I would also share my experience, which I had recently, go over the course of the discussion. So collaborative enough is not yet. There are still more opportunities for us to constantly engage with the customer. Okay, and in terms of empowering the customer, okay, does the customer feel that I am in control? Does he feel that, okay, I can pick and choose what I want? I can demand, I need a policy for just for one day. Okay, I am going to Coimbatore taking a flight in the morning, and I'm coming back in the night. Okay, after all these days, I'm going to sit in my house. Okay, so I need to buy a travel insurance policy which will cover me just for a day and just for this place. Am I able to take such kind of policies? Okay, and am I able to take on the policy on the go? You're at middle and start off the day by opening the mobile phone, correct? And then they end the day by using the mobile phone. So how are we empowering the guy to use the device what he's having in his hand to make all his life decisions, right? Still, there is a lot to do in those two areas. That's how the IT challenges what we face is all in those areas also. Yeah, I rest mine.
Okay. No, you told about three things. Basically, you gave three parameters for digital transformation. One is obviously the speed. No issues on that. Then on the collaboration, which is basically full life cycle, as we were discussing, Tarun, Dr. Kohli, both of them told. I know the lots of spaces are there to fill in there, because the collaboration till today is more of a phone call, or just sending a mail, or at the time of renewal doing some activities. So collaboration is I know it's a difficult term, but on the empowering, you are actually under the hood of empowering. If I do a double click, you told about flexibility, agility, just in time, and omnichannel. So this is a very interesting situation. So I just want to go to Dr. Kohli, how you are setting the success of digital transformation, because Shiva is basically telling that these are the three parameters which basically makes it from the IT side. But from your side, how you are judging the success and how you measure that, it is not very easy. I mean, there are lots of softer issues that there also. So how you are looking at it and how you are judging it, and what is your storyline on that, the success of a transformation or success of digital reach to the customer?
The judging parameters basically comes from definitely an analytics. Now, I must not say that there are analytics being run at each and every process, because we people are also evolving, right? So because every day is a new initiation, every day there is new evolvement, understanding that how the tools have to function, be it from B2C, B2B, B2C perspective as well, right? So, the mindsets are different, channels are different, the customer segmentations are different, affluency of catering of these people are very different. So, the target market, what we're talking about, like when we talk that, the success for this is in terms of putting up one process in place, right? If we run certain campaigns, right? There is a need that we are running these campaigns, and these campaigns have a certain level of digitization or customization at the back end, which talks that in terms of what is the real-time scenarios, in terms of like how we have better this kind of query has come, and we've been able to cater to a customer through this kind of a query, right? The scenarios are very different. Each scenario will be quite different from another. Now there could be some past triggers. Definitely you can go back and refer through the legacies, but I don't think so in pandemic that's really going to work, because if in India the evolvement of insurance is almost 20 years after the general insurance companies and the monopoly has gone to the private sector people, right? So these companies have evolved and they made digitization almost 10 years back. But when we say that we want to meet all the queries or all the customers, I can take some heads up from my older data or the historical data, that would really not work, because our historical data will be 2 years back or 1.5 years back, which will talk about the new wave of COVID, where the mindsets of the customers have changed. Even your internal customers have also changed. When we talk about customer from a technology evolvement perspective, it depends from our internal, customers, like marketing channels. The marketing channels who are really feet on street, who are catering and are supposed to meet the targets and getting the business online for us, right? There are channels who are only doing an end-to-end implementation and there is no manual intervention. There are channels, there are tools who come as a consolidation on a one common dashboard from a CXO perspective, that he needs to see from this particular thing, how much is my real-time business. It could be a T+1 day, T+2 day. It could be on the real-time feeds as well. So, this depends from scenario to scenario. The success mantra, coming back to your question, that how it is evolving. So what we do a sort of a understanding where, basically the teams get together, especially with regard to underwriting, but especially with regard to your actuarial departments, especially with regard to the company's overall strategy perspective, that what is the 2-year strategy, whether it is catering only to this particular line of business, where they see that they want to evolve. So it comes as a nutshell, 360-degree involvement when people come on a common committee meetings, or in our case, we have a lot of committee meetings, like where different CXOs join hand and they do a lot of slicing and dicing and doing the data massaging and cleansing of the data, whether it is in health or it is in motor, and then come out with a root cause of analysis. These are the 10 things which have been a filler for us after running that particular campaign for last particular quarter. Whether this would be applicable with the new campaign that we envisage for the next quarter, will it really replicate or work as a best practice for us? Yes, we can take that as a sort of an understanding, but whether how we will be able to cater to those queries is really unknown to us. So this is like every day understanding the new scenario, every day evolving, every day catering to the new work. It is something which is, we are trying to work on that. And secondly, hyper personalization, which is talking about customers giving a persona, reading what is the spending patterns of a overall 360-degree view of a customer. From an agent's perspective, what is his 360-degree view? Which target audience I have to, give them which kind of, product. What is catering to his insurance need? What is his need analysis? What is his in terms of what is able to cover his risk assessment? This is something which probably a person has to do in terms of his overall portfolio. So this is really worked out, and artificial intelligence or rule engines, what we talk about today, are really doing wonders there. Whether the companies are getting evolved, is it all about artificial intelligence? I think so. It can be at a later stage in artificial intelligence. We are still struggling with a simple system-based intelligence as of now. We are still evolving. And I think so Indian market is only evolving as of now. Thank you.
No, you actually touched upon two important points. We'll discuss that later, sure. One is B2B, B2B2C. I mean, this is a very interesting topic. We'll sure discuss. And you also told about the hyper personalization. That's obviously a digital transformation target. We'll need to do a double click on that. But everything apart, you told a very, very important point, that the legacy data is not probably supporting me to create the future characteristics or future measurements. That is very, very interesting insight. And if that is the scenario, as you told, that you are evolving every day. I mean, and it is not only top down, it is also bottom up, because the field people who are there, they are coming up together, huddling and saying that, hey, these things are missing. And the executives are telling, I feel these. So it's an interesting mix. So Tarun, what you think? I mean, Dr. Kohli had given a different flavor altogether. So how you're thinking your success factors, what are your measurement points, what you do?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a very interesting point, Dipankar. When Dr. Kohli said that legacy data might not be as useful for us to project. So this requires us to completely reimagine customer engagement. And then when we look at that, there are a couple of aspects that emerge. First, the whole approach of customer segmentation has to change. We have to look at psychographic attributes. We have to not look at the traditional, okay, this is the age, this is the disposable income. We have to look at the behavioral aspects. So this is where technology and behavioral science are getting converged. Secondly, when she says that we are evolving, right? When customer engagement is being reimagined, we have to also look at a reimagined enterprise architecture. Right? Are we fit for purpose? Are we future proof in this scenario? And to your question on how are we, assessing the success of digital transformation, I think obviously, most of us will agree that this is beyond technology. I mean, there are cultural aspects. There is a mindset shift which is required. There is a general, I think, when people talk of digital business, my personal opinion is that while businesses are getting digital, we have to also look at, are we able to create digital relationships with the customer? It is not just about employing or deploying 5, 6, 10 technology, new age technologies as such. So I think we feel that every digital implementation or transformation has to be looked at with a lens of how are we bringing, or are we bringing delight to the customer? Internal, external partners, or everybody in that chain. And yes, while a lot of this is intangible, but and I think most organizations do have matrices like an NPS. What is the percentage of complaints which have come down? What is the percentage reduction in rework? Have we reduced launch time? Have we reduced, have we increased efficiency of our marketing campaigns, etc., etc. So we also have matrices to measure, some of these initiatives. But I think overall, if we are able to see tangible improvements in time, quality, efficiency, and productivity, I think we are evolving and we are making some progress towards the final end.
No, that's a point, Tarun. I mean, it's really when you are saying that behavioral aspects along with technology has to be gelled in. I mean, there are lots of such. I mean, new stream of science is coming up. I mean, that's very, very important. I actually am just to give you an anecdote. A few months back, I was discussing with one of the CEOs of a power company. He was asking me, what will be my new skill? Whom we are choose as people? I mean, will they be power engineer? Will they be data analytics engineer? Will they be behavioral science? I don't really. I mean, the problem is that we cannot really know a black box things. It's technology, behavior, the breaking of the barriers, all this, the mindset. I mean, and softer perspectives are very, very important. I don't know how we will really manage that. Though we say that turnaround time, NPS, percentage of complaints, these are very standard measures. But just to say, I'm just telling you the challenge. I mean, today, if I go to a customer-centric organization, how their culture is changing at the bottom line is very, very important. I mean, maybe the front end who is first attending the customer, his or her behavioral quotient makes the customer coming or going. So how we measure that? And that is not only a part of social instruments, but also technical instruments. So it's very, very interesting topic we are discussing. So I'll go to Shiva on that. See, from the technology perspective, you told those 3 points, and Tarun and Dr. Kohli told about analytics very heavily. Tarun actually told in the previous discussion is that the pressure on insurance is not from the peer of insurance, but it is peer of Google's. So, which is basically changing the outlook on the technology side also. And he also mentioned that enterprise architecture, and I really want to do a double click a little bit later. Enterprise architecture is ready for that or not. It's a very, very tough ask, but Tarun told it in a very simple manner. But really, if I am trying to have an analytics, as Dr. Kohli told, heavily analytics based or social analytics we are taking into consideration, we are putting rules engine. Am I ready to have my technology updated in that manner? I mean, I may be having a very simple servers and some services, not even microservices. Am I ready? So how are we looking at that, Shiva? I mean, that may be a completely different ballgame.
We were talking about the enterprise architecture, whether it is ready, and then the microservices technology, how it is being implemented. Yes, Deepankar, all these are still in the I would say still under various phases of deployment or various phases of strategizing, I would say. We have been talking about microservices for quite a while, and when it comes to the implementing them actually in the in a rule-based situation, because insurance kind of industry, every process is so very rule-based. So each one is dependent on the previous process. What was the output of the previous process? How all these processes are interconnected to each other. So here, the architectural advances in terms of services and micro, they are in a way supporting for some kind of businesses, for instance, probably on the customer experience and the retail kind of a thing. But even when it comes to large end-to-end process, we still find challenges in implementing those technologies, right? So that said, what we are now trying to work with the customer is that when you start measuring, when insurance companies start measuring the effect of digitization, they have a certain KRA, as per their measurement factor, like Tarun mentioned about NPS, such kind of factors. So when we do a contract with the insurance companies for getting an engagement, we take those KRAs also into our contract, saying that, okay, when we want to give you success, when you measure success in this way, part of the success also boils down to us. So instead of we being the term does not just to say that, okay, I need to deliver this component to them, I need to deliver this strategy to them. So only if the insurance company is really able to achieve their KRA, then technology companies are able to benefit from it. So we have started off by putting that right from the contractual stage. We keep track of how our technology advances, how the enterprise architecture, when we provide to the customer, how it is actually coming out in terms of benefit. So some areas you heavily analytics driven, like actuarial science, heavily analytics driven. So we implement those tools there. And then when customer experience is more of, services, microservices really plays a part in such kind of front-end related technologies. So it's now insurance industry is really coming up, because I would say it was sleeping last 10 years. And now COVID has actually pressurized them. And then, you have to keep up. Expectations are so every stage from the left to right of the processes, the technology has to adapt to what they want. Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, you're basically telling that there is a skin in the game of the technology also into the whole process, and insurance companies are really geared up for end-to-end automation. I have a quick question on to Tarun, on Dr. Kohli, and maybe Tarun first. That what Shiva is saying, that is not only the end-to-end digital transformation of the insurance companies, but it's an ecosystem altogether. Are you looking at that? I mean, this is, and there are two things into this. One is, not only customer engagement is not really a retail customer engagement. It's also the companies who are getting engaged. So it's a very complex. I mean, frankly, we are doing probably an injustice only on 1 hour session on this, but this complex environment, Tarun, how you are looking at that B2B or say B2B2C, which Dr. Kohli told, which is another important point. And this, not only the end-to-end automation, but also I won't say automation, digitization, but also the whole ecosystem taking care of this. How are you looking at that, this complex scenario? As a CTO, it's very
absolutely important. It's fairly complex, Dipankar, and there are a lot of moving parts. But being part of an ecosystem also puts certain expectation of certain level of digital maturity in you. So as you interact with different players in the ecosystem, there is a certain expectation from you to be at a certain level of digital quotient or digital maturity. Because ultimately, B2B, B2B, B2C, ultimately the end consumer's behavior is changing. B2B are, those companies are also realizing that shift. They are also trying to adapt. So I think the expectation is that all participating entities are elevate themselves to a certain level of digital maturity. Secondly, the journey should be simplified. The expectation is that the digital journey should be simplified for all the participants to use it. See, we are talking about open API gateways and ease of integration and speed of integration. This is becoming more and more important, because if I'm partnering with someone, he also expects, or at least intends to deliver his or her product or service seamlessly, quickly to his customer. So the expectation, the burden of expectation is all the participants in the ecosystem. So
excellent. Continue. I was just very surprised when you told about the open API and the simplification of process. This actually brings in something very interesting, which is that the coming of this no-code, low-code system, the platform itself. So you are basically targeting towards a platform-oriented behavior. I mean, okay. I mean, how you're looking at that? I mean, that's a very interesting question.
I think while everybody is becoming digitally savvy, the whole low code, no code is to reduce the time on the tech developers so that users become familiar, accustomed, and fairly educated on the digital front, so that they are able to use technology, for basic or basic tasks, and use tools, which act as a product or a module in itself, and act as a plugin for them to automate certain tasks. I think while the technology is making that advancement, there is again an expectation from the users, and some of our non-tech colleagues and professionals are showing high levels of digital maturity. So they're pretty excited, they're pretty curious about use of technology. Rather, they are going and telling, they're pushing the technology teams that, this is what I've read, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm hearing from my friend. When can I have this? I would like to do this. How can I participate in the whole development of it? So I think, but at the leadership level, there has to be some work to be done to bring rationality to all of this excitement also. See, there are too many shiny objects. We have to see what works best for the organization in the context of the landscape in which we are playing.
Agreed. I mean, this is one thing which I tell almost everyone, that digital has given us lots of chaos also. Please try to understand from that chaos which is a better item for you. I mean, Shiva can come and tell that, do AI, do ML, all your rules engines are to be dumped. But is it really you are geared up for that, or your customer is geared up for that? So, Dr. Kohli, I mean, on that issue, but Tarun had told something very interesting, that the whole ecosystem is getting more digitally evolved, and there is a pressure for everybody to come up to speed. And I agree that tech, quote unquote, tech savviness and digital savviness are two different things. Because digital savviness is more of the intelligence, more of behavioral aspect, more of attitude, rather than coding. So how we're looking at that? I mean, it's interesting as a CTO how we're looking at that. I mean, what is your?
So thank you for that question, Suketu. So one thing is definitely that organizations are taking the enterprise business transformation as an enterprise architecture way. So when a CTO is defining that what is the need analysis for the next 3 years as a vision, taking social science or behavioral science and all that put together into a buffet of offerings that you have to cater to different people, then there has to be a sponsor from the business that who is going to agree on implementing this enterprise architecture. So the CTO's prerogative is like to build up an enterprise architecture. Then there has to be milestones defined. What would be the the commonalities amongst different channels, different teams, in terms of building up what we can say the open APIs, what we are talking about, the API structure, microservices architecture. There has to be component base which can be used as a plugins, and one API can work for another. So These are something which is like, the jargons of the world, but from tech and innovation perspective, it is definitely which has to be done. Now, coming back to the question that, like, the implementation of these API implementations is like, emerging technologies is playing a very big role. When you talk about claim settlement, it's not necessarily like, you can do the claim settlement in terms of implementing something like blockchain technology. RPA's robotics process is playing a very big role in terms of automations. Platforms like .NET technology, Java's, or now the low-code platforms are also building up a very big platform. So what is it doing? It's bridging the gap between the tech and the business stakeholders. So business stakeholders are also getting involved. Yes, definitely. Whatever be outside, it's very shiny world. I agree with Tarun, but we need to see that what is in for us. How is our organization evolving and getting an acceptability for technology to accept? It's not about giving them tools. It's also about reaping the benefits through these digital tools which technology has enabled from them. How much ROI are we able to get? How much manual intervention has been stopped and digitization as an end-to-end? How much turnaround time has come? What is in terms of, if not in number of manpower, but in number of hours or seconds that we have been able to share? So if that kind of analysis in place, enterprise architecture is a very big tool to do it. And I think so implementation of it is also another, if not implemented properly, it is also another nightmare. It can lead to chaos. How? Because we need to have an unbiased PMO office being set within an organization, which is a project management, not to basically report into any of the stakeholders, not to report to the business, not to report to the tech. Since it is an enterprise business transformation, it has to be an enterprise, what is project management, which talks about what is the associated risk involved in terms of implementing these milestones. That should be giving an awareness and setting the expectations right for all the stakeholders, whether they become the change agents or what. I also feel that every department who is adjoining to tech and innovation should also have a contributor or a representation who can be the best fit, or a SPOC, who can also help you in taking the digital to those technologies, to those departments where the usage of these tools is also giving its weightage. So this is some practices that we people are also doing. But as I said, that we are evolving, so we are going to evolve every day. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, every good thing comes to an end. It's a really enchanting and interesting discussion. We could have gone another hour, but time is fixed. We have discussed from strategy to implementation a full set here, and basically focusing customer engagement. So what we understand, what is the future? If we really do a one-liner on that, is that customer engagement has to be there. That's what will make the people succeed. We should have a very strong enterprise architecture which makes all these tools to be coherent and concentrated. And we should understand which tool will make the things better. Just not what is making the things shiny, but what is actually organization need. And then finally, we should go towards a situation where the architecture actually supports the business initiatives, and it's a business-driven organization which makes the things change, along with the whole ecosystem coming up towards the customer experience making better. And one important point which everybody told is that behavioral thing has to be there along with the technology to make the things much more lucrative for the customer and giving a brand promise to the customer. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. Have a great day and be safe. That's what I expect. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Outlook.